Honorable Union Minister of Road Transport, Highways and Shipping, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, Shri Alok Shri Ram ji, Shri Mahesh Gupta ji, Shri Saurabh Sanyal ji, respected former presidents of PhD Chamber, members of the Managing Committee of the PhD Chamber, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all towards the PhD Chamber of Commerce Industry 109th Annual General Meeting. Our chamber, which is 109 years, is one of the oldest chambers, not only in India, but also in the world. Over these years, it has gained a place among the League of International Organizations of high repute. We are privileged to have with us Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, who is well known for his organizational and leadership skills. His present role towards the development of country's infrastructure is absolutely essential for the country. A qualitative change in our infrastructure, which we are hopeful of seeing under his dynamic leadership, will fuel the growth of the economy and push it onto a higher trajectory. It would be appropriate here to humbly acknowledge and appreciate the far-reaching vision and dynamism which our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, has demonstrated to the world. He has infused a renewed confidence and optimism across all sections of the Indian society. We are sure that under his leadership, India will regain momentum and achieve the goal of a strong, sustainable, and all-inclusive growth in the economy. Friends, the Indian economy has witnessed positive sentiments in the last few months since the new government has come into power. The GDP growth has improved to 5.5% in the first half of this year, while inflation has declined rapidly. The affirmative sentiment expressed by the IMF and the OECD has reasserted that the Indian economy is expected to pick up pace in the coming years. According to Goldman Sachs, India is expected to become the fastest growing major economy in calendar year 2016, overtaking China for the first time on the back of healthier macroeconomic numbers, indications of structural reform by the government, and higher investments. Much of these can be attributed to the recent initiatives of the new government, which in the last 6-7 months have made significant announcements, such as formulation of a 10-point agenda to kickstart economic growth, followed by various announcements in the Union Budget 14-15. Subsequently, the roadmap for the reform process has been laid out, and a few significant schemes, such as the Jan Dhan Yojana, Digital India, and of course the landmark Make in India initiative. The formation of Special Investigation Team on black money also raises hopes of new era in Indian business, which will be known for fairness, transparency, and accountability. Few other initiatives, such as repealing the archive laws, approval to amendment in labor laws, along with launching of labor schemes, are steps in the right direction to facilitate ease of doing business in India. Today's theme of our annual general meeting, New India, Way Forward, is about discussing the future of the economy, which will be shared by the long-term vision laid down by our Prime Minister. We envisage a future where the economy is in a double-digit growth trajectory, the manufacturing sector is globally competitive, the agriculture sector is sufficient to sustain the rising population, and millions of jobs are created for socio-economic growth of the nation. The new India will be the dream India, which will provide housing for all, education for all, easy access to medical and health facilities for all. The new India will create safer and better standards of living for all citizens of this country. The new India will promise every citizen to realize his or her potential and contribute towards self, family, and the country. The new India will have countless success stories to tell, demonstrate, and sell to the world. Friends, how do we build this new India? The question is intriguing and the task may be difficult. Nonetheless, it is not impossible. First and foremost is to have positive thoughts, which our Honorable Prime Minister has demonstrated not only to us, but to the entire world. With positive thoughts and synchronized action, we can achieve great success, as was proven by our new government, which came into power with a previously unthinkable single-party majority for the first time in 3 decades. For a nation as huge and as diverse as ours, effective governance is essential. The government has emphasized less government and more governance, and concentrated efforts are being made towards making the administration and bureaucracy more accountable. One favorable outcome of these actions has been speedy decision-making in clearing the stalled projects. More than 15 major infrastructure projects have been cleared in the last few months. The government has launched highway projects worth more than rupees 1.5 lakh crores, while defense projects worth rupees 80,000 crores have been cleared. Further, the government is focusing on 2-3 major rail projects. Industry and business are the driving force for growth of the economy. It is essential for them to flourish in order to achieve high growth. For this to happen, ease of doing business in the economy is a prerequisite. Unfortunately, India ranks pitiable 142nd out of the 189 nations in Doing Business Index 2015, complied by World Bank and the International Finance Corporation. However, the recent measures undertaken by the new government for ease of doing business are inspiring, and we believe our ranks would improve in the coming times. Some of the areas where work has already been initiated include single window clearance with seamless coordination between central and state government and local governments, digitization of government departments, along with electronic filing of applications and access of approvals on cloud. Further progress on these and other initiatives will not only reduce the cost of doing business, but also attract global investors to come and invest in India. Further, there should be a strategic approach towards building a new India. Our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, has given a simple model of Make in India to boost manufacturing sector in India while creating millions of jobs and putting India prominently on the global manufacturing map, which is highly appreciable. This will also lead to increasing the purchasing power of the common man, which would in turn boost demand, putting India onto a virtuous cycle of growth. The Make in India program includes major new initiatives intended to facilitate investment, foster innovation, protect intellectual property, and build best-in-class manufacturing facility. I'm happy to inform the audience here that the PhD Chamber has once again been invited, along with other associations like FICCI and CII, by the Honorable Prime Minister on 29 December to review the mission of Make in India, especially in the 25 sectors which has been chosen by the government. As indicated earlier, infrastructural development is one of the major factors of economic growth in any developing country. Despite being the third largest economy in the world based on purchasing power parity calculations, India's position is undermined by a lack of world-class infrastructure. India ranked 90th out of the 144 countries as per the World Economic Forum Global Competitiveness Report 2014-15 in terms of infrastructure quality, with inadequate supply of infrastructure listed as one of the most problematic factors for doing business. Estimates suggest that the lack of proper infrastructure pulls down India's GDP growth by 1 to 2% every year. It is suggested that to tackle infrastructure problems, an overall rehauling of transport systems needs to be done. There needs to be an increase in capacity of railways with modernization through state-of-art technology, dedicated freight corridors, segregated freight and passenger lines should be constructed as they provide improved connectivity and to and fro from industry to the ports. Road sector needs to be built more extensive highways and expressways to prevent roads from becoming bottlenecks to manufacturing growth. Extensive capacity building is needed at major ports to meet growing trade volumes. Energy infrastructure should be developed with the upgradation of technology and strengthening of high-capacity national transmission grids. The cost of acquiring land is increasing and adversely affecting the viability of industrial projects and eroding the competitiveness of Indian manufacturing sector. Therefore, the Land Acquisition Act should be revisited. Taxation in India needs structural, operational and administrative reforms, as the present tax regime is not conducive to fostering growth. Thus, there is an urgent requirement to make our taxation system simplified, rationalized with long-term stability. The implementation of the GST will provide a fillip for trade and industry and lead to a single common market across all India. We appreciate the efforts of the government to eliminate the country's archaic labor laws and undertaking much needed labor reforms. It is suggested to repeal the existing labor laws which put unnecessary regulatory burden on businesses, simplify the exit rules for Indian and foreign entities, and frame a single comprehensive law relating to labor safety. The Chamber is participating in the policy formulation process of the esteemed government. We had actively engaged with political parties and sent suggestions outlines earlier for inclusion in the election manifestos. We have also prepared a new and sent a roadmap for socio-economic reforms to the new government. The Chamber had also actively participated in sending suggestions to DIPP on bolstering the manufacturing sector before the launch of Make in India initiative. We are happy that our suggestions have been taken seriously. As we are all aware, work has already begun on several fronts. The Chamber has already strived to take knowledge to the grassroots so as to facilitate capacity building among the different sectors of the economy, to create an interface between the various stakeholders of the agriculture and food processing sector through the process of free dialogue. The Chamber has organized various seminars and exhibitions from time to time, such as Farm to Fork initiatives. Further, the Chamber has made efforts to pioneer the cause of infrastructure development through various initiatives. Our unique endeavor to promote affordable housing through a series of conferences in association with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation and fast-tracked stalled reforms in the infrastructural conclave have received overwhelming response. This year, we had organized the Northeastern Region Infrastructure Conclave, which focused on developing the infrastructure in Northeast region to identify gaps in implementation of relevant policies, share good practices and lessons learned in order to work towards the development of this all-important region. Friends, the Chamber has a vibrant skill development committee aimed at aiding in the development of employable skills by working proactively with the government and industry. We have recently organized the Conference on Skilling in Schools. On behalf of the PhD Chamber, we would like to assure you that the Chamber will provide and continue to the national mission on skill development of Government of India. At this juncture, I would like to mention that PhD Chamber has been actively working in contributing to the socio-economic growth of the nation. I would particularly like to talk about the two foundations of the PhD Chamber, namely PhD Family Welfare Foundation and PhD Rural Development Foundation, which was set up more than 2 decades ago. These foundations are actively involved in executing integrated family welfare and rural development projects in India for marginalized communities, with education and skill development being their focus areas. The PhD Family Welfare Foundation has initiated projects this year such as the Rashtriya Mahila Kosh project, two health posts in slum areas of East and West Delhi, targeted intervention projects on HIV and AIDS, sanitation program for girls in Haryana, self-defense training program for girls and women in Okhla slums, apart from organizing free health checkup camps and community developments through awareness on soil conservation and empowerment through capacity building. The PhD Rural Development Foundation, on the other hand, has been undertaking CSR initiatives in the field of health and sanitation, water management, skill development, and vocational training. It has also been undertaking research services through development of CSR policy framework, baseline surveys, impact assessment, CSR and sustainability reporting. We have undertaken 2,500 health camps and 1,500 awareness campaigns, built 170 check dams, and 20 skill development initiatives. I am confident that we will make all efforts to meet the challenges ahead for the promotion of industry, trade, and entrepreneurship to achieve higher and all-inclusive growth in India. With these words, I thank Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, Minister for Road Transport, Shipping and Highways, for gracing this important occasion with his esteemed presence. Sir, we stand at the dawn of a new era in Indian economics and politics. The new government is taking on significant reforms, which promises not only brighter outlook, but also better outcomes in the foreseeable future. We know that the road ahead will not be easy, and we will have to manage several uncertainties. However, under the able leadership of the present government, I firmly believe that the Indian economy will soar to new heights by channelizing the limitless potential of each and every Indian. Thank you and Jai Hind.